Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the incredible transformation of the India-Israel relationship. This is a partnership that was once pretty much kept in the shadows, but now it's right out in the open, and it's reshaping geopolitics all the way from New Delhi to West Asia. Okay, let's just start with this. This is a powerful statement, right? It really captures the new high point in India-Israel ties. But believe me, this level of open support wasn't always the case, not even close. So the big question is, how do we get here? Well, the acceleration has been absolutely stunning. If you look at this timeline, you'll see full diplomatic ties were only set up back in 1992. And for decades after that, the relationship was, well, let's just say it was cautious. But in the last few years, it's hit light speed. We're talking landmark visits, new alliances, all leading up to this special strategic partnership we're seeing today. So what lit the fuse on this rapid acceleration? Well, it all comes down to a fundamental shift in India's foreign policy. To really get what's happening today, you first have to understand how New Delhi stepped away from its old balancing act and adopted a whole new, much more assertive game plan. And this slide right here illustrates that pivot perfectly. For decades, India's policy was hyphenated. See it there on the left? Basically, any move with Israel was tied to its stance on the Palestinian issue, which really limited the relationship. The new policy, on the right, breaks that chain. India now deals with each relationship on its own terms, based purely on its own national interests. So the crucial takeaway here is that this de-hyphenation policy isn't about picking one side over the other, not at all. It's really about creating the diplomatic breathing room to build a deep strategic partnership with Israel while also maintaining India's long-standing support for the Palestinian cause on a totally separate track. And this whole idea of de-hyphenation, it's actually just one piece of a much bigger puzzle driving India's foreign policy today. And that puzzle is called strategic autonomy. You could call it the art of multi-alignment, and it's absolutely key to understanding how India is navigating such a complex world. And this really sums up India's new playbook. Strategic autonomy means you stay independent, you make your own calls, and you engage with lots of different powers, even ones that don't get along. It's about building partnerships that help you without getting locked into those old, rigid alliances that tie your hands. And here is what multi-alignment looks like in the real world. On one hand, you see India getting closer and closer to the US, Israel, UAE bloc. But at the exact same time, it's keeping the lines open and doing business with their regional rivals, like Iran and other Arab states. It's a really complex diplomatic juggling act, for sure, but it's also incredibly pragmatic. All right, so now that we've got the policy framework down, let's look at the actual pillars holding this partnership up. And the first one, the most visible one, is defense and security. And let me tell you, this has gone way beyond a simple buyer-seller relationship. The numbers here are just staggering. In light of recent conflicts in the region, India is looking to finalize defense deals worth up to $10 billion. A deal that massive would cement India's place as Israel's single largest defense customer. That's huge. But look, this isn't just about India buying hardware off the shelf anymore. The real focus now is on joint development and co-production. India wants to take that cutting-edge Israeli tech, like the Iron Beam laser system, and build it right into its own domestic Make in India defense industry. This has become a true technology partnership. Okay, moving on to our second pillar. Beyond all the military hardware, this partnership is really about building a sustainable future. And it's doing that with technology, and maybe a little surprisingly, with agriculture at its very core. This simple little motto, per drop, more crop, it just perfectly captures what their cooperation in agriculture is all about. It's about using world-class Israeli innovation to help solve some of India's biggest challenges, like water management and food security. And you can see the results on the ground. They've already set up 43 of these agricultural centers of excellence all across India. These centers have helped more than 500,000 farmers adopt things like precision irrigation, and now they've set an ambitious new goal to expand that number to 100. The collaboration is also speeding ahead into the most cutting-edge areas you can imagine. There's a joint $40 million R&D fund that's now fueling partnerships in AI, quantum computing, semiconductors, even joint missions in space. This is future tech happening now. Now for the third major pillar, geopolitics and economics. See, this partnership isn't just a two-way street. It's actively redrawing the map of the entire region by creating new strategic groups that are changing the flow of trade and connectivity. The best example of this is the I2U2 group. Some people are calling it the new Quad. It brings India, Israel, the UAE, and the US together to use private sector money for huge joint investments in everything from food security to clean energy. And one of its flagship projects is the incredibly ambitious IMEC corridor. The plan here is to create a seamless trade route of ships and trains that links India's markets directly to Europe, cutting right through the heart of West Asia. If this works, it would create a faster, more secure trade route that could one day even rival the Suez Canal. But underneath all the high-level strategy and the big economics, this whole partnership is really built on a foundation of deep historical ties that go back for centuries. This is the human connection. In his speech, Prime Minister Modi really pointed out the unique role of the Indian Jewish diaspora in Israel. He called them a living bridge between the two nations, people who were vital in building modern Israel, all while holding on to their Indian heritage. And this unique bit of history is a source of huge national pride in India. For more than 2,000 years, India has been a safe and welcoming home for Jewish communities, one of the very few places in the world where they have lived and thrived without any history of persecution. So let's look ahead. What's next for this relationship that's evolving so quickly? What does the future of this partnership actually look like? Well, the roadmap for the future is pretty clear and very ambitious. The main goals are to get a big free trade agreement finalized, to turn these visionary projects like the IMEC corridor into reality, and to make it easier for skilled workers to move between the two countries, locking in those economic and human bonds for decades. And that leaves us with a final and pretty crucial question. As this unique partnership gets deeper, it's doing more than just serving the interests of two countries. It's creating a whole new dynamic in global geopolitics, one that could either become a new model for stability and practical cooperation, or a new flashpoint for regional tension. And honestly, the answer to that is yet to be written.